still be getting 70 or 80, and people are like, oh, he's in a bit of a rut, isn't he? You know, we've come to expect so much from him, but he just seems to be in total control. I mean, he played a shot there today, that reverse sweep that just flew to the boundary. I think that's how he brought his 200 when he was batting in the first innings with that exact same shot. And to see someone who plays the orthodox shot so beautifully be able to turn new shots like that into something that looks orthodox just in the way he plays it so perfectly and so much in control. He's really, really good.
It seems to me that he's the complete modern test cricketer, and that he can play a lot of the traditional shots. His driving off the back foot was wonderful, timing, real proper classical shots. And then you're right, he does a little dinky reverse sweeps and things. I mean, he is the modern batsman.
Well, he is, and there's always debate on him. I mean, I think he's better than Coley right now, and I think he's going to be around for a long time and be one of the greats. He'll be remembered for an awful long time to come. He just has so much time when he plays. It just seems so, I don't know, it's incredible to watch. And he said himself, when he was asked about moving to number 3, he said, oh, I've only had a couple of innings so far. I don't know if I've proved it yet, but yeah, I think he's going to really be a real backbone for England, and is really helping them mask a couple of those batting problems that they have at the moment.
I think what he's going to do actually to be a real great is have a big series in Australia. Virat Kohli's had a big series in Australia, hasn't he? And I think that's, I don't think it's why he can't, but in 17, 18, whatever he go down under, we're looking for a big series from Joe. If he does that, makes a couple of hundreds perhaps, then that's absolutely elevates him to the highest level. I mean, 3rd week of July, they had to wait that long for his first 100th for him this summer in any format. He's had a few near misses, and he himself said that he played a couple of poor, slightly reckless shots in the Lord's Test, and was determined to eradicate that from his repertoire. And he probably scored a little bit more slowly. His strike was down a fraction by his standards, but he made damn sure he went on and on and on, got an absolutely huge score. I mean, he was dropped 150 odd, but other than that, it's difficult to remember a single full shot that played and missed 3 or 4 times maybe.
I can see a Kohli versus Woods head-to-head in the sun before the first test in Rajkot.
I mean, I suppose Smith and Williamson left right. They're the 4 that were the best batsmen in their sort of mid-20s and just approaching their prime. So they're the 4. But I mean, Kohli's got 20 odd one-day 100 as well. So at the moment, you have to put Kohli top. Although Kohli's, the glaring hole in Kohli's CV is runs in England. So when he comes here next, he'll be keen to put that right.
But what about the man behind Joe Root then, number 4? Vince, where are we? They're gone, Saj. What do you think what do your boys think of...
I think the Pakistanis fancy their chances against him. I think they enjoy bowling to Vince, obviously. I think he probably plays one shot too many. And the Pakistani seamers, the left armers, mainly Rahat and Wahab, they don't swing the ball back in that often. They're bowlers who angle the ball across the right-handers, and Vince is continually chasing and flirting outside that off-stump. And the Pakistani bowlers are enjoying that. I think they really fancy their chances against him, against Balance, and Hales to a certain extent. The key really is for the Pakistanis to get Root and Cook early, as they did in Lords to a certain extent.
What do you think they'll do as far as Vince is concerned, John? Do you think he'll keep persisting?
Yeah, I think he'll get the summer. I mean, especially if they win here, there's less pressure to change the team if they win a match. But you can't build a Test career on just by having a fancy cover drive. No. You need it's mental toughness. It's mental toughness, and it's nous. The nous of how to score runs in international. But sure, batting in the covers, it looks lovely, but if we keep floating the ball out there, you hit 2 or 3 or 4 on the 4th on the edge, and it's Groundhog Day, but he keeps getting out in the same sort of manner, and it's a worry.
It's a funny thing, though, isn't it? Where often a batsman's strength is also his weakness.
Yeah.
That is. I mean, he does play that shot. It's a very attractive stroke that he has, but it's getting him out as well.
Well, it is, and you talk about Joe Root learning from what happened at Lords. I guess the concern over the summer so far is that Vince perhaps doesn't seem to be learning, or if he's learning something, he's not being able to convert that into his application out there. The other thing is, I fear is a bit of a liability in the slips. That's another...
Took a very good first one.
Did, yeah.
Headingly, and everyone thought, wow.
And then since then, it's stand so tall or something. He's I don't know whether he's down low enough, or he sometimes doesn't even move for some of those chances that go past. So that's a little bit of a worry as well. But batting wise, I mean, he looks really pretty. He plays some really pretty shots. But if someone keeps getting out the same way, chasing those wide ones when there's absolutely no need to, it's what's he learning? What's he learning about his dismissals? And it sort of goes against what Joe Root was saying. What he learned, James Vince hasn't been able to do that yet. So whether he will or not, we'll see. But I think John's probably right. There's no chance or no pressure on him to change anything. And we know that the philosophy at the moment is to give people too many games as opposed to one too few.
Which they are, and therefore with someone, it's fine until that person who actually I think deserves a chance in county cricket, like Borthwick, I think you can't argue against him having a chance. But then when the opportunity finally comes, he's gone off the boil. And I think he needs to look a bit at that selection. There was a selection story written before this game, not by about firing the selectors and that they're talking about Andrew Strauss and so on, which I think has been shot down. But I think the selectors do have to look a bit at the informed county players who are recognised as being decent players, not someone who's having a bit of a flash in the pan.
Yeah, I mean, somebody said to me, but one of the selectors said to me that if I mention Borthwick's name, just going to put his name out there to see how he responds. And as soon as his name is mentioned as a possible Test player this summer, he entered a bad trot. Now, is that coincidence, or was it? Did he get a bit anxious? Or might be in the Test to shake up here, and he as a consequence had a few. I mean, he was run out on one occasion, wasn't he? But had a few failures. So, I don't know. That was one sort of little game for that selectors were playing to. In that case, just to see how Borthwick responded. That's what I was told by one of the selectors certainly. But I think the way the team is selected and the selection process is always being looked at and analysed. At the moment, Andrew Strauss says there are no plans to change it.
It's hard to see him going up and down the country looking at hours of county cricket in the sort of way that James Whittaker and his two.
I think a lot of it is just quite a sort of administrative grind. Really. I mean, James Whittaker will tell you that for every squad he has to make 100 or more phone calls, ring people up, that sort of stuff. And there's no way that Bayliss, Cook or Strauss could do that. So perhaps if Bayliss and Cook really wanted Ben Stokes, for example, to bat at number 5 at Lords rather than Gary Belt, or wanted Anderson in the squad to prove his fitness, they should put the foot down and say, no, I'm sorry, this is what we want, and maybe they could talk, Newell, Fraser and Whittaker around.
It's how much county cricket has Trevor Bayliss ever seen?
Some said 3 days.
Yeah, and that's really hard, and that's no disrespect to Trevor Bayliss, but it's
well, Fletcher didn't see much either, let's be honest.
And that's really difficult because of course you can see video and there's footage that's sent in and everything else, but there's only so much. And even if you look at scores, we all know that at 50 can be as streaky as anything on a really good surface against not very good bowling, but also like a 30 could be really hard fought in certain conditions against a new ball that's hooping all over the place. So I think that's a really difficult thing with the extent of county cricket here and the amount of it there is. If there's not the experience enough or the amount of viewing that can be done to actually see, who do you rely on, I guess? Who do you rely on to tell you without any, I guess, not agenda, but any bias? Because you've got selectors, who've got certain affiliations with counties as well. So how do you actually get the people who know to give you the best information and actually see this?
The network. That's Mel Farrell from Cricket Info. John Etheridge is here from The Sun. Saj Sadiq from Passion as we chew over. Well, we might still get
still not training
this game, but anyway, it's an intriguing time in the series. And England look as if they should level this. They've taken 2 Pakistan wickets so far. 47 for 2 is the situation at lunch. Loads of lists of things to go through here. Saj, what did you make of the follow-on business? It's interesting, and I don't think I've really read or heard anyone who often it's a bit of a spooky thing, isn't it? Or people, wow, I think most people were very surprised that it falls apart.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, even Mickey Harper in the press conference yesterday said that he was surprised.
That could be mischievous, couldn't it?
I mean, he had a wry smile on his face when he said it. I think it was from the Pakistani perspective, it was surprising and a good decision, you could say. But I think when you're that far behind with very little chance of rain, whether they enforce the follow-on or not, there's only going to be one outcome unless there's a miraculous innings from one or two of the Pakistanis. I think Alistair Cook probably didn't force the follow on, the management didn't force the follow on because they wanted to hammer home that advantage. I think the England boys were probably a little bit upset by losing at Lords in that first Test match. Again, the home of cricket, and then
Didn't like the press ups.
the press ups and the salute to the flag and all that. So I think that riled one or two of the England players perhaps. And I think you could see when Joe Root and Alistair Cook reached milestones, they were really pumped up, fists up in the air, and really sort of gesturing to the crowd and the players, their teammates. They were really, really fired up. And I think Alistair Cook perhaps wanted to hammer home the advantage against the Pakistanis rather than just putting them back in and getting them all out for another 200, 250.
Were you energised, Mel? What do you think about it?
Was I energised?
Were you pounding into your laptop?
No, not at all. It was surprising in some ways, but as we were just discussing last night, it's not really the Australian way generally to do it anyway. So I'm used to seeing teams being ground
Indeed.
into the dirt by Australian captains because that's exactly their way of doing it. But we were discussing last night. I think
they did it when they had Shane.
They did.
I mean, I think that might change a bit more now.
Yeah, it could.
That again, weather a bit more, and then we'll finish
Well, yeah, especially against the West Indies, which they did do, which was quite surprising. It hadn't happened sort of for a long time. But I don't necessarily agree with Alistair's good decision, but I can also understand as well. I mean, gee, if England come out of this game having pulverised Pakistan, if they do it today, in 4 days, like, oh my gosh, Alistair Cook's terrible, like what an awful decision, you can't really do that. He may have changed his mind, but he didn't bowl Jimmy Anderson or Stuart Broad after lunch, and so that, I think a lot of people were thinking, okay, that means he's going to enforce it, but with that partnership between Misbah and Wahab sort of coming in, perhaps he changed his mind a bit.
There's so much time available. It's interesting, John, because I think if you come across cricket visits, the sort of through predictive, that I'll get the numbers completely wrong. But someone told me today on the way in the car that as a result of not enforcing the law, cricket visits sort of predicts these things and the stats and data and so on. Reckoned it was going to take England one session longer, and I think something like 5% less likely to win the match because of not enforcing the follow. I don't know how they come up with this thing, but it's public data. It comes actually from England camp themselves, and a lot of it. So
Nathan Lehman, the England number
public
data,
data.
he has created the algorithm. I mean, yeah, I suppose by not enforcing the follow-on, it reduced slightly England's chances of winning. But if they had enforced the follow-on, that, as far as England see it, would have increased, however small they were, increased chances of Pakistan.
Pakistan millions. I know
Pakistan get 500, and the absolute most they possibly have been chasing would have been 120 with Chris Wokes at number 9. So, but that was their thing. I mean, Mel's right. Paul Farvey said at the press conference last night that there was a change of heart. The plan at lunch was to enforce the follow-on. That's why Ward and Anderson didn't bowl, but then Misbah and Wahab 80 off for the 9th wicket, and they changed their mind. We saw Hale running off, didn't we? And running off for a convenient sort of comfort break. But I mean, it's not the worst thing that's Cook's ever done, but it just shows us a slight lack of ruthlessness or maybe a bit of insecurity. But 5-man attack, 1 day in the series, the next test isn't for another 9 days. All these reasons, Pakistan have been bowled out in 60 odd overs, so all these reasons really put together made it, in my opinion, a no-brainer to enforce. And all Cook's predecessors really, apart from Strauss, you can say, but Sane, Vaughan, Atherton, they all thought, well, a very strange decision not to enforce.
A few quick ones. Sad you mentioned the press ups and the salute to the flag. Hasn't the spirit though been really good? I mean, this is a big series. For some reason, we can never get all together, especially in this country. There's been the odd rumpus in Pakistan, of course. I think things have been okay in the UAE, but this big series, Muhammad Amir and all that sort of stuff floating around. Are you really pleased with what you've seen so far? I liked all of the Pakistan field going shaking Joe Root by the hand when he got out. There seems to be a really big effort being made. I know it's early days and things can still get a bit excitable. But the moment, it's looking good, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's good to see. You know, it's being played in the right spirit.
Yeah.
I think what happened was that when the Pakistan squad were together ahead of this series, Shahriar Khan got the team together, the whole squad, the management, the chairman, and he sat them down and said that, listen, I want you to win matches and also win friends. So that was the message that he gave to the players and the management, that listen, play hard cricket, but also win friends while you're on the tour. So I think that message has got through to the players, and it's good that they have a captain like Misbah-ul-Haq there, who is quite calm. You can't imagine him sledging anyone, and you know, he's out there, he's in control. The players, the squad, they all respect him. And you know, I think he's doing a thoroughly good job as leader in sort of calming some of the emotions, because there are one or two volatile characters in that squad, and of course the Amir thing could flare up at any moment. I think one or two England players don't necessarily see eye to eye with Mohammed Amir and probably don't agree with him actually being on the field. And
do you feel that? Do you think are you guessing that, or do you think that probably is okay?
I think there are one or two, you know, who played in that series in 2010 who probably think that, what they might have said in the media is probably different to what they're feeling inside.
Yes.
And you know, that could be something that could ignite at any moment. But I think with Misbah-ul-Haq there, things will be kept calm, and that message from the chairman is very, very important. And the players have taken that on board, as have the team management. And I think they are here to win friends and avoid all the controversies of previous tours.
I suppose here, Old Trafford was one of those potentials where it might be uncomfortable for Amir. I think Lord's always going to be okay. I think it's been fine. I mean, we're behind quite thick glass here, but I mean, I didn't hear anything, I don't think. There's Birmingham to come. That could be a challenge with the old Hollistack gets going. But I mean, again, do you think that is just a bit of pressure, a bit of steam has been taken out of that situation?
I think they've prepped Amir very well ahead of this tour, and also I suppose from a Pakistani angle is that he's already played some international cricket before coming to England. Obviously there was that incident in New Zealand when the PA announcer did the cash register and all that.
Not very helpful.
Yeah, it wasn't in the best taste, and some of the New Zealand fans gave him a bit of a hard time. I think it's going through one ear and out the other, really. I think he was expecting a few boos and a few no-ball shouts from the crowd, and generally he's ignored it.
He hasn't bowled one yet either, which is
yes.
a good thing. He must be possibly trying harder than anyone ever has done in the history of cricket not to bowl.
Exactly. You know, it'll be an interesting reaction when he does bowl a no ball. But you know, I mean, they have prepped him very well, and I think he was expecting some of this a bit of an adverse reaction from some of the crowd. So I think he's okay. I think he's letting his bowling do the talking, and he has bowled very well so far.
Spirit, John?
It's been good. I mean, as I said, there were a few shots from no ball, weren't there, from the crowd here with Amir, but yeah, at the start. I mean, Graham Swan's done a problem for us, a couple of problems. He's pretty vehement actually. He doesn't want Amir, and I suspect that is the view of one or two of the players who actually played in that game. You know, it's different if they actually played in the game. You feel that's been tainted that much. In fairness to Cook, I mean, talk about the salutes and the sort of military style celebration at the end of the match with the press ups and so on. I don't think Cook had a problem with that as such, but they did. He just had a problem. You know, he was annoyed that his team, having lost, had to watch the Pakistan players celebrating Australian flags. So it doesn't matter if they were doing press ups or just running around.
So that seemed a bit twisted, but he certainly didn't say that to me. I was a bit surprised to see it reported that way, because it was just we've lost them and they're enjoying themselves.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, they could have been doing any sort of celebration. Well, exactly. Any sort of celebration. So it was just that he was annoyed, his team were annoyed watching them celebrate because it meant England had lost.
Yes, yeah. You go that too, Mel.
Definitely, yeah. That's certainly how I read it. But it's just been great. I mean, a year ago we were talking about the effect of the Brendan McCullum effect and how influential he was in the way that the spirit of the matches was conducted in. And Misbah has probably had more of an effect on certainly on Pakistan cricket than he ever had, Brendan McCullum had. And I think Pakistan are a really entertaining team. I spoke to one of the players who said to me that when you have the star on your heart, you don't want to do anything that reflects badly on your country. So that message that Saka was talking about, it definitely has something to the players, because they see that as a badge of honour and something they really have to do. And they're fun. I just think they're a team of characters, and they're fun to watch. And So it's just been a really, for me, entertaining series.
A last one, I guess, because they'll be coming out shortly. I've just about got over having been put away by the captain on the day before when I asked him about Rashid and the spinners and we're going to play both of them and so on. He dismissed it. I think he might rather regret. Well, I hope he regrets not playing Rashid. I think they could have played him here with all the cover that they had. And what are we going to ever learn about Adil Rashid unless maybe they have to wheel him out at the Oval in a one-off game to see this, playing in India or something. I just felt this was a great opportunity for him to play, and again, an opportunity that I think that they are being positive should have taken.
I mean, I don't think you'll lose much from the sort of run scoring ability,
no.
Potential of the side. If you give Rashid for either Vince or Balance, it was always likely to be within his match with pace and seam rather than spin. But I perhaps certainly strongly consider playing. I mean, especially with one eye on the winter, because he was to play Henley Test, they played 3 in the which last winter got a 5 for early on, but other than that, it was milked really. And so I think there comes a time when he's got to start playing a bit of Test cricket.
Yeah, and there's an awful start by Marlow. I mean, 2 foot tosses, driven for 4. I mean, he's got to do better than that this afternoon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the Pakistanis really fancy Marlow's bowling. I know Misbah's been out to him a couple of times, but that's more to do with his own judgment and shot selection than any exceptional deliveries from Marlow. I think Adil would have given them a different challenge, but I think they will be looking to attack Adil as well, but that could work in his favour as well.
Yes, which he does in one day cricket.
Absolutely.
Well, I must mention the Women's Super League. You're all fired up. That's starting on Saturday. Yorkshire Diamonds against my Loughborough lot, whose name just slipped my mind, the second part of the Loughboroughs. But anyway,
Lightning.
Oh, Lightning. It had to be an alliteration of some sort. Big week though, isn't it, for women's cricket actually in this country? They're very keen that this does catch on.
They are very keen. I'm a little bit concerned that it's hidden. It's hard for something to catch on if not many people know about it or can see about it. And it's brilliant that the BBC at least are making the effort to actually cover the matches. So it's going to be on the radio. I'm actually going to be heading up there to do some stuff with you guys, which is very exciting. It's hard. It's going to be a hard act to follow after the Women's Big Bash in Australia and how big that was there.
Right. What made that big though? Was that, were they playing games, for instance, before the men and that sort of thing, big crowds?
Double headers absolutely helped. Having those double headers on free-to-air television was a massive thing because the numbers were absolutely huge. Topping 400,000 people for a women's domestic match. Just can't even tell you how huge that is. The good thing in this country is that cricket fans are actually more supportive generally than cricket fans are in Australia. They'll actually go and watch women play more in this country, I think. So that's a good thing. Interestingly, Birmingham who don't have a franchise or a team in this competition, just had a double header between their men's and women's, and there were reports that there were up to 3,000 people who stayed for that match, which they had afterwards. So I still think double headers would have been the way to go in these early stages, because you need eyeballs on it, and then it's up to the players to actually perform and provide something that's entertaining enough that people will go, hang on, this is pretty good, I'm going to come back and watch this. So that's my fear that so much is happening with Olympics and everything else, that there hasn't been the big push for it that there could have been. But hopefully they've got some big name players coming over here. Elise Perry will be playing for Yorkshire in that first game. Stefani Taylor. For Lightning. Stefani Taylor, Hayley Matthews. There are some really great names in this.
Deandra's coming in. She gets in this week.
Who's outstanding in the final as well. So there's some talent there, and I just really hope that people will listen on the radio. They'll come out and actually watch the games and then hopefully see some good entertainment.
The umpire's coming out. One thing that does seem a big concern is that big gap, isn't it, between the top players, the international players, and what's below it. And was that the case in the Big Bash or not? Or do you think there is a more consistency standard?
There's more consistency, I think, because a few years ago when they brought in central contracts around the same time, just before they did in this country, they actually also started paying the domestic players as well.
Okay.
And so they're
more professional.
Yeah, it's a bit more professional, I think. But each team in the Super League has got 3 international players, 3 England players, a couple of players in England and So you've got 8 players in each team who are sort of there or there and about. So it shouldn't actually affect things too much.
Good stuff. Thank you, Mel. Thanks for joining us. Good luck with that. Up to Henley you go. Saj Sadiq from Pack Passion, good man. We'll see you, I'm sure, during the course of the summer. John, as always, thank you for coming in and chewing over what is summer. I say a huge long list here of things to talk about. We've touched on some of them there, and I can look out and see Pakistans not out batsmen marching purposefully out into the middle. England are waiting for them. The umpires are set to go. A small, enthusiastic crowd. There's room if you want to come down. And England are 8 wickets away from levelling the series. So we're going to head off and find some lunch, all being well downstairs. Ed Smith's enjoyed his already, I imagine. Actually got a mouthful of something already. Grabbed on the way in. That's a very bad move, that Ed, because I could completely leave you to it now, but I felt like they were very kind and say Victor. Pass on a few thoughts, and then when Ed's finished masticating, he'll pick up commentary.
It's fine actually, because I can jump in now. Thank you so much. Victor will be with us in a second as well. Afternoon, Victor. Afternoon, everyone.
Hello. And welcome. Moeen's having a rest. And probably England's most potent bowler of the series, certainly England's most potent bowler of the series, is gonna take over Chris Waits.
Eunice been on striker's end, short of rhythm to say the very least. Hafiz is ready, 3 slips in a gully, Wokes in now. Oh, nearly got him first ball.